What's going on? It's your boy DameSmiff, and this evening I'm going to chat with you with what I would like to call the Mortal Kombat Ladder of Rap. And pretty much it's kind of like your top five or anything like that, your top 10. But it's from the perspective of, let's say, artists that you feel challenge you as an artist, musicians that kind of inspire you and like push you when it comes to your own creativity and kind of build up. So if you're interested in this kind of conversation, make sure you like and subscribe because I will be doing this nightly with you guys. So when we think about Mortal Kombat, right, the video game, it's basically a fighting game, but it's a fight to the death, right? And the basic concept of it, it's a tournament, and there's got to be one fighter at the end, basically the clout. He wins it all, you know. And so when you think about that for rap, and this could be taken from any type of career you may be in that has some kind of competitive edge to it, but it's really down to like you're trying to build a list of people that either challenge and push or maybe resist your kind of content or maybe skill set or you know maybe it's just controversial, different from right. And so it's really to kind of wrap your mind around the competitive nature of the and also kind of get you riled up mentally and to build up motivation for you. So it's not really a negative like I hate this artist or this artist needs to go down. It's more like a it's like a nod of respect. It's like one fighter to another fighter in a sense. So now that we've kind of gotten through his idea that I have, it's a little deeper than a top 10, right? And I guess I want to draw like the contrast to it. So a top 10 would just be like artists you love. That's why it's such a circular conversation. You doing top fives and top tens and things like that because everybody's criteria is different for what they value. So one person could value hometown advantage, another person could like politics, they're cool or not, and another person could really base it off of skill set, maybe business, something like that. So there's a lot of different variables happen in the conversation of like a top 10 or a top 5 that for the Mortal Kombat Ladder of Rap, as I'd like to call it, I want to make it more so dedicated to the skill set and the talent and how it really reflects the person who's making them. And it can be different. It doesn't have to be consistent. Like if you hear most people's top fives, you can generally guess what it's going to be depending on what city they're from, what side of the country or world they're from. You can pretty much guess. They'd have to be like a bit of an enthusiast to kind of make a completely unpredictable list. And so I think the greater point here is that when I talk to artists and their inspirations are other musicians maybe or other rappers or singers, things like that, I tend to see the same kind of perspective of building a top five list when you have that conversation with artists. They don't necessarily gravitate towards artists that are pushing or controversial to what they're comfortable with. Like they're not rappers trying to listen to jazz music. They're not, singers trying to listen to gangster rap. Like it's just not a thing for most artists. Now, like there's a few around that are like try to experiment and things like that. But ideally and generally, most artists are very comfortable with what inspires them. And so when I put that in perspective for myself, I think about like a lot of the teachers that I've had in school and stuff like that, where they try to like really kind of like push you in towards uh, new genres of music or introduce them to you. And so that's a great way to kind of start with your Mortal Kombat rap ladder or ladder of rap is try to look for artists that are different than what your usual sound is, but also the best of the best. So usually teachers when they try to present music to you it's not usually something that they personally enjoy unless there's something they can glean from, let's say, the song or the artist that they're trying to show you. So one moment somebody was teaching me about a saxophone player, but we weren't really talking about the saxophone player, we were talking about the song they were playing. So there's ways you can learn from experiencing somebody else's art that can really make what you're doing very valuable. But the key is knowing how to learn and what to look for. So most people, they don't know that. They can learn from a song like principles, or maybe they can learn ideas, things like that, or maybe challenge their own ideas and principles. They don't really know that. And so they'll try to look for something that's comfortable, like a comfy beat or something like that. And that's really what I gravitate towards them. Like, is the bass hard, or are they really rapping? Like, just some vague, term, nothing really specific. And that's the key thing that most people are gonna miss when they're trying to build a Mortal Kombat ladder of rap, because it's gonna be hard after like number 8 on the ladder to really figure out, all right, who can I put on here that's gonna be like actually a contender, and not just someone I enjoy and just I think is cool. I think that's gonna be the difficult part, because as people kind of put this into their conversation and their daily lexicon, as you could say, you'll start to see how people value artists and why they value them. Like, why is Hurricane Chris on your list? You know, he has a great story. Explain it. Why is Jay Worthy on your list? You name these people. Why is Ransom on your list? And so when you start to have the conversation, then you can delve into, okay, this person may really, really like this artist for whatever reason they stated, or this artist may actually challenge them. Like, for example, I went to school for music, and a lot of the music that challenged me came from instrumentalists. It wasn't necessarily like rap songs or pop songs or country music or anything like that. It was instrumental music, because it was trying to figure out how to write music, but it was also trying to understand how sound moves in a complete song and affects the audience. Trying to get that translation understood, it was pretty much my biggest challenge. And I think for artists with challenges like that, that's gonna be solved through you trying to place yourself in different experiences and things like that. So I was picking up different instruments. I played French horn, mellophone, trumpet, percussion. I had to read in all these different instruments, learn to transpose. Had to write for other people, teach them how to play, teach my instrument, teach their instrument. I've had to do a lot of different things, but it wasn't necessarily like uh somebody forcing me to do it. It was kind of like I needed to learn this so I could say I understand it, and then learn all the things that come around it so I can actually do what I want to do with music and stuff like that. So now, if somebody walks in the studio with a saxophone, I'm comfortable enough to have a conversation about what I'd like them to play. I may not be able to picture read or tune it, but I could really explain to you what I would like you to play. And the language is there as well. I've also studied music theory and stuff like that. That'll help build your understanding of how rap works, especially songwriting. You can really break down like what rappers and things like that that'll go on your list that are really effective for the thing you like them for. So you can have two or three artists that do similar acts or similar gimmicks, but maybe one is a little better, but you can't really pinpoint why. As you figure out how music works, how the creation of music works, then you'll figure out, okay, this is how the person is manipulating this tool, or maybe exploiting a strength of their own, or something like that. You can really understand it. It's a lot easier for instrumentalists because there's less of a human element. You're using a machine most of the times, like a trumpet or a guitar or a beat machine or a DJ table. So you can just kind of like listen and kind of visualize who's working harder and things like that. But when it comes to songwriting and rap in particular, it's a little different because now the audience is involved. It's not necessarily just about performance. It's about reception, communication, so many other layers, appearance. Yeah, there's so many different things that go in. But I do want to know who makes it onto your Mortal Kombat ladder of rap. Who are, and we got to pick a number. So I would say this number is going to be 20. You got to pick 20 artists just by name that go through the list. And then if people want to have the conversation with you, you can justify it. But the Mortal Kombat ladder of rap is 20 artists from top to bottom, the strongest being at the top, and each one has to be either be a contender or the illest rapper you ever heard, or the best singer, best keyboardist, or the best trumpet player, or whatever it is. But let me know who is on your list.